girls, grab your beers.
Hey everybody, this is Charlie from Anthrax, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle.
This is Mark Metcalf, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle with Bailey on Domain Cleveland Radio.
You are listening to today's Boondoggle with Bailey on Domain Cleveland Radio. Yes, Kato Kalin listens to this all the time.
Welcome to today's Boondoggle. Now here's your host.
I am Monty Heath, so one Heath, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle.
Hey, what's up? It's John from Skillet, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle on Domain Cleveland Radio.
Fasten your seatbelts.
What's going on, everybody? It's Bill Bailey with today's Boondoggle. And real quick housekeeping note, if you're watching us on YouTube or Rumble or BitChute or Odyssey, please hit that follow and subscribe button. And if you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple, Google, whatever podcast platform that you utilize, please hit that subscribe and follow button there so we can continue to bring you conversations like the one I'm bringing you today. We are talking with Alex from the band Violet Breed. What's going on, Alex?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It was good talking a little bit as you got set up there and getting to see a little bit of the decorations. Are getting ready for the big party coming up. But usually when I have guests on for the first time, I like to get a background on them. So, like, do you remember originally what you wanted to be when you grew up?
Yeah, well, actually, so when I was in school and high school, the equivalent in England, my main focus was to be a sports teacher, so like sports science and physical education. So I was really, and I still am, but I don't play no more because my knees won't allow me to. But soccer, that's like the main sport over here in England. So I wanted to be like a soccer coach and go down that avenue. But then I fell in love with rock and roll, as they say. So here we are now.
Nice. And do you remember like who were some of your like earliest influences that kind of caught the bug for rock and roll?
Yeah, so my dad introduced me to music at quite around like 7, 8 years old. So like we were listening to records from like Pink Floyd, T-Rex, Bowie, Zeppelin, really early prog Genesis stuff with like Peter Gabriel. And then one of the main ones was obviously Queen and the Beatles, but yeah, Queen was one that really stood out for me, and ever since then just been completely obsessed with Freddie Mercury's style of singing, the live show, and especially collecting records now. That's like become one of my main little hobbies.
Nice. And then like what was the music scene like growing up back home in England where you grew up at?
Yeah, in England, actually no one's actually asked me that, but when I was like in school, it was very much there's like the genre is like indie rock, alternative rock sort of thing. So people are really into like Oasis, Arctic Monkeys, sort of like British rock bands, and I liked all that stuff too because it played a big part in my development as a musician and how I was influenced. But I've always been drawn back to the classics, you know, the stuff that I've just mentioned. So I've been quite lucky because I've got quite a diverse taste in what I like. But in England, like when I was growing up, it was very much the sort of indie rock sort of scene, and I love all that, but I don't think Violet Breed represents any of that, which is I think kind of a good thing. But and then obviously all the stuff that people listen to today, you know, like One Direction, Harry Styles and all that sort of stuff. So that was like what everybody was very pop as well in England as well.
Gotcha. And then when was it that you you know, I mean, caught the bug to actually start playing and learning to play instruments and write music yourself?
Yeah, so my mum is actually a performer. So from her, I was kind of like exposed to like performance and music quite a lot. So she used to go up and sing. She was like a classically trained singer. So seeing her perform, it was always kind of like being in like our family, in like the blood, as they say. And I was kind of late into like getting into music. Like I always played guitar and I knew I could sing, but in terms of taking it to the level where I'm at now, and obviously would like it to go, it was kind of around like my mid-teenager years, so around 15, 16, I reckon. And I enrolled in a music class in college, and I just caught the bug for it. Like, I was just obsessed with that sensation and that adrenaline rush you get from performing and that reaction you get off people. And that's kind of where the process of like writing songs came from. And it was a real, like, a creative time for me. And it's obviously made me where I am today and given me that sort of inspiration and desire to kind of do what I want to do now.
Nice. And then when you were, you know, catching that bug and started to learn to play in the music classes and stuff, did you start did you find some like-minded musicians and start any bands over there?
Yeah, so I was in a couple of like what I would say high school bands where like we played like the lunchtime cafeteria and like assemblies and stuff like that, as you do. But I was also in a really cool band with my best friends, and we had some amazing times playing like local bars, clubs, and universities, or colleges, as you guys say in America. And you know, we had some amazing times, but that project just kind of hit a glass ceiling because COVID came, and it kind of like, you know, derailed a lot of things. But it's definitely a time that I hold very precious to me, because it was such an amazing experience to be in the back of like a car or a van with like your guitar, your best friends, just traveling up and down the UK, going to all like these little pubs and villages and mini cities and stuff. So it was character building, as they say, and I've kind of taken that experience into what I'm doing now. So I have a full-time job and I've got like bills like everybody else does, but this opportunity of being in this new band with Brian and being in Violet Breed, I still get to go out and play music quite frequently. So I'm out probably 2 or 3 times a week with my acoustic, singing like 2-3 hour shows, like club shows and stuff, and just going around like the old school way. I'm a big believer in that, like getting on the road, learning your craft and developing yourself as an artist and as a performer.
Nice. And then like, how did Violet Breed come together for you?
So I've been lifelong friends with Brian. He was involved in that project that I was talking about as like a mentor, manager, producer sort of person. And when that project kind of come to an end, me and him stayed in great contact and developed a really good relationship. So what I like is it's friends first before music. So that, I think that's been a real big contribution into how the band's been so far. And I was just writing songs, and like how we're communicating now with amazing technology, it's quite easy to go back and forth, showing ideas and recording ideas, and it just kind of came from there, really. So like over like 2-3 year periods, we've just been developing, and now it's finally ready for the big reveal. And we put out the first song 3 weeks ago, and so far the reaction's been great, and I'm just really just enjoying the process. It's all kind of new to me, like doing interviews and meeting people like yourself who love music like we both do. But I'm just really enjoying it, and I hopefully people are enjoying the music that we put out so far as well.
Yeah. So you were mentioning Brian Wheat, obviously, you know, from Tesla. How did now you were saying in that previous project that you were in before COVID, you had already kind of connected with Brian and he was kind of involved with you guys?
Yeah, he was involved, and me and him, like when we were in that project, sort of formed a really good bond anyway. So when the opportunity to come to do something together, I think for me it was like kind of like a pinch me, I'm dreaming sort of moment, because you know I'm not like an established, I'm not a rock star, I'm not really anyone, but I feel really proud to be involved in doing this new adventure with Brian. And you know it's a nice thing to be involved in, and the collaboration between the both of us is quite special, because we're both influenced by the same sort of things. So like those classic bands like Queen, Zeppelin, Beatles, but him being an artist himself, he's very in touch with modern music as well. So it's like 2 generations coming together to kind of give people the best of the old and the new. That's kind of like how I like to see it, and it's a great platform for me as well to kind of be introduced into the world.
And how did you guys originally connect?
So we met through a mutual friend, probably like 7 or 8 years ago, and yeah, just kind of sparked up from there. And we've been going on like vacations together in Italy, and he comes and visits me over here when we do stuff. So we just maintained a friendship like that, I guess, over the years.
Oh, nice. And then I'm always curious about like names and stuff. Like what who came up with Violet Breed and what's the meaning?
So very early on, for me, I've always just been obsessed with the word violet. Like, I don't know why, but I like the idea with a band name if it can go with a color, because it makes theming the project quite easily. But I just kept thinking of violet, and then that was it. And then Brian was like, we need it to be something else. Like, we can't call it just violet. And there was no like magical moment or like it came to us in the stars or anything like that. It was just Brian, we're just putting words together, and eventually the word breed came out. And then we both kind of looked at each other and like, oh yeah, that sounds quite cool. Violet Breed. It really represents what we're trying to do with the music. And it, you know, like you just know, don't you? You get that sort of feeling it's going to work.
Yeah, nice. And then so, you know, you guys get together, you start this project. You know, you like you said, you like kind of getting out there and earning your stripes and stuff, but now you're working with Brian, who's kind of been there, done that, a good mentor, you know.
Yes.
As you come into this, what's that experience been like, kind of getting under that learning tree?
I feel like I've taken it quite well. Like, I think the experience and what I'm learning from is, like, especially with Brian, is the amount of drive and passion that goes into it. And if you don't have those things, then you might as well just stop now. So like seeing what he's done and reading his book and seeing what Tess have achieved over 40 years, it's quite inspiring. So like that sort of lesson that's coming across to me, it's kind of easy to see like, oh, okay, right, this is what it takes to be, and this is what needs to be done. So I feel like I'm adapting, I would like to say fairly quickly, but I don't really try and overthink it. You know, I'm just kind of just enjoying the process of it. But he's a great mentor and a great leader for sure. I mean, he's steering us in all the right directions so far.
And how's been like the process of you know, getting the rest of the Violet Breed together?
It's quite easy. It's mainly just me and him. And then when it comes to recording stuff, he recruits people who he wants to do certain elements like drums and guitar. So Dave's obviously featured and plays guitar on Awake as well. And I do the singing and stuff over here. And yeah, it's not, it seems like a really bizarre concept, but it actually flows quite quickly because it doesn't really take a lot for us to write a song and come together and do that process. And he's a wizard when it comes to producing. So it's a quick process, and yeah, it's a good project to be in.
And it's like, you know, thankfully where we're at today with technology, it makes it possible for you guys to be like in all these separate locations across the globe, you know?
Yeah, like he has his responsibilities and his duty to be in Tesla, and, you know, I don't expect him to give that up for this, but at the same time, he has those artistic tendencies and creations, and for me to be involved with him in this and with the same things, like I love writing songs and I like being in a band, so it's a cool experience. But like I said, like we and you are talking across the globe right now, and it hasn't buffered once, and do you know what I mean? It is quite amazing how you can do things now. So, and when he comes over and stuff, or we meet up, it's you know, it's just even better, because I'm a firm believer, like from being in bands, sometimes the worst thing is being in a room with people too much. Do you know what I mean? Like you get so many too many cooks in the kitchen, as they say. Whereas for us, it's like when we do get together, stuff gets done, and it's efficient and it's quick, because we know there's that period of time we've got to get it done. So it's a different kind of spin on things.
Yeah, yeah. And then let's talk about the new single Awake. Like what was the you know, the inspiration or the message with that song?
Yeah, I think we wanted to write something that was very direct, honest, and kind of just upfront with things. Like, I think the main thing that I'm enjoying the most is that we're making music, especially like songs like Awake, that I think we just want people to relate to, and it's like it's something that people have all experienced. So like some of the main themes are like being in lockdown and that feeling of being restricted and maybe seeing things from a different perspective, like not in a political way or anything like that, just kind of like in a feelings way. And I think if you can write stuff like that and a huge audience can relate to it, then I think that's always the goal in music, isn't it? You want people to accept and to relate and, you know, to understand what you're kind of singing about. So that's kind of what Awake's about. And sonically, I think we just wanted something that just hits hard. It's just a stand-up rock song, you know, like a chorus and the guitar solos. And I'm a fan of all that. And I know, you know, that's Brian's background with Tessa, so he wanted to introduce that sound to people as well.
Yeah. And, you know, I like what you were saying too, like about, you know, I mean, you know, what you were writing and the message you're trying to connect with the people, because it's like, you know, we all, you know, have gone through that together, and we're all still going through some things. And it seems like, you know, music was always, it was kind of always about rebellion and questioning, you know.
Yeah, that's what all the best songs are about, that. And you know, I've never seen it as like a rebellious song, or maybe in like the attitude and the sound of it, but I think we just come together and like we were both experiencing what millions of people are experiencing around the world. So to write something that's kind of that upfront and honest, I think it's quite a good thing. And, you know, again, to get people to relate to it is always what you want in your music.
Yeah, I agree. And it's, you know, I mean, you know, it's all also like, you know, what you were going through and you sharing, you know, putting pen to paper and kind of speaking from your heart. It's like a healing process. And then there's somebody that's going to hear that, and it's like, wow, this is really helping me kind of get through that.
I mean, that whole period of time, because obviously they had this thing over here called key workers. So I was like working still full time. I wasn't ever really in a isolated lockdown environment, but those moments when I used to come home from work to like an empty house, you can't see no one, you can't do anything, you can only communicate with how we're communicating now. And I think for me, my savior was picking up my guitar and kind of writing and kind of getting those feelings out, you know, out of myself onto a piece of paper, and obviously now to the world. So I like that, like how you just said that, like it was definitely a time where music did, not in a corny way or anything, but how music did kind of save me a lot mentally and propel me into like what I want to do, for sure. Yeah.
And, you know, it's like I'm a person in recovery. You know, I'm about 15 years sober. I've served in the military, and it's just like, so I've done a lot of like, you know, personal, I found different avenues of healing. I've done different modalities of trying to grow and get through things. And I'm grateful that I went through some of the things I went through before we got to COVID. I knew so many people that in recovery that unfortunately, when we were isolated, they went back out and they haven't come back, you know. And there's just different ways of healing. And like they say, journaling, you know, getting those thoughts instead of keeping them up in your head, getting them out. That's kind of what you're able to do and turn it into a song to help others, you know?
Yeah, that's amazing. Like I said, with the music for me, and like what you were just saying, like it's like you find mechanisms to kind of cope, don't you? And how you're gonna heal yourself. And like I said, music for me, and that sort of journaling process was a way of doing that. And also I love playing, I love like soccer and going out for a run as well, because that always clears my head. So it's about how you find things to kind of help you through those times. But that's really cool. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, during that time, you know, I'm pretty sure soccer was taking off the options for you and running and clearing your head, you know?
They did this thing. I don't know what it was like for you guys, but when it did come back, obviously there was no audiences, was there? Like it was all played in closed stadiums, and you know, it was just such a weird time, and I'm really glad. It's so nice to be out of that. But at the same time, it's been such a massive thing in people's lives, hasn't it? So you know, it's just one of the things you can't really
I think
avoid.
Like going back to, you know, the name of your song, you know, it's just like it was a time for a lot of people to wake up, you know, kind of like what is you know, for me, it was just like I'm a single dad. I've got 2 grown adult daughters that were kind of like my roommates, and everybody's living their lives and we're running around. But when we were stuck together, we had to rekindle that relationship and learn about each other again. You know, so there was some I look back with some gratitude during that time as well, you know, because it's like I don't know. I think we're quick forgetters, and it's just like we got to look at what are the real important things in our lives, you know, and then you know, when all the other stuff is taken away, you know, we need those reminders
more, doesn't it?
Yeah. But what are the plans now? You know, now you know, Wake's been out for a little bit. The audience is getting to hear kind of like you know, what Violet Breed has to offer. But I mean, do you have a couple other songs that are getting ready to?
So we've got a selection of songs kind of ready to go. You know, it sounds really high tech, all saved on a hard drive, you know, with like the videos and this and that. And I think we were intending just to kind of put out a track maybe kind of every 8 weeks or every couple of months, 3 months or so. And, you know, as a fan of music like yourself, probably like, it's funny to see how music's changing, because I'm just a fan of, like, I come home from work, I have a coffee and I listen to an album, side A, side B, and you kind of lose yourself in it. Whereas now it's more all about singles, isn't it? Like little teasers of what it is you're trying to achieve in the long run, and hopefully you can release an EP or an LP when it comes to that. But I think we're just looking at doing singles and just seeing kind of how it goes, and just enjoying this process of actually putting music out. And and enjoying the journey of where it could go. I mean, I have no idea, but I'm trying not to think about it. I'm just enjoying it.
Yeah, gotcha. And that's the, you know, that's the key, man. Because I was just at an AA meeting this morning, and it was just like, you know, it always talks about just one day at a time. All I got is today, and staying in the moment and enjoying the moment. You know, I used to struggle with a lot of shame and guilt from the wreckage of my past. And I finally freed myself of that, but I catch myself future casting all the time. And it's like, dude, there's nothing I can do about what's going to happen tomorrow. It's just like, stay with today and enjoy the ride.
I suffered the same sort of thing where, like, you can, like, in this sort of scenario, like, you can worry about what people are going to think. Am I going to be accepted by, like, a community of people who obviously are fans of Brian and Tessa? But at the same time, it's like, do you know what? I'm just going to, like you said, take each day as it comes, deal with whatever comes to me when it does come to me, and just enjoy it, because I think I've been looking forward to it for a long time, and if I wasn't going to enjoy it, it'd be such a shame, you know. So it's an experience that's kind of new to me. I'm not an expert. I'm not a rock star. I haven't got a Porsche or a Ferrari on my front yard, but I'm here like everybody else, just trying to find my way and just putting something out that I'm kind of proud of.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, that's a great attitude to have, man. I mean, I'm really enjoying this conversation, and I'm sure, you know, for somebody that's been around like Brian, he sees that in you too, and that's why you know, you guys are working together.
One of the craziest. It's not like a massive experience, like I ever exaggerate, but I've read his book, and it's fascinating to see, you know, in a book someone's journey, and then you can like FaceTime, be like, dude, like, did this really happen? Like, you know? And I think the most important thing is just being humble, and that's what I think, you know, all the people who I'm inspired by, and especially Brian, they're just honest, humble people. They're there to help people. They've inspired people through their music and through the message that they've written in their songs. And I know I like to think that that's kind of why our relationship works the way it does, because, you know, I just want to just be a straight up honest person. I'm not there for all the craziness. I think those times have kind of gone anyway. I'm just here to just write music and let people just enjoy it, you know.
Yeah. And you know, like you were saying, like, I mean, right now the plan is kind of just to keep releasing a single here and there. But you know, as an album collector, you know, I know, speaking of myself, it's like, and I'm sure Brian will relate too. It's just like, I kind of, you know, I miss the days, and I get it though, that, you know, the generation today's kind of got shorter attention spans, but I remember the days that just sitting down with the album, putting the album on, putting the headphones on, and just from front to back, it taking you on a journey and just enjoying the artwork and, you know, like going on that, you know. Is that something that you guys think you might try and work on down the line to bring back? Or
absolutely. Like I was asked a while ago, like, what are your goals? And I've kind of have like two. They sound silly, but like one is like what I've just said, keep putting stuff out and seeing where this thing takes us. But my dream, and it's a silly dream, but I would love to go to a record store, or even it comes to me in the post or the mail, and to have like something like Awake pressed on a vinyl, and I could just sit in my little room where we are now and just put it on my record player. And I've never heard myself through vinyl speed on a record player on vinyl before, because obviously with CDs in the digital age, that's kind of where music is. So I think that I would, you know, if we could ever get to that point, I will be very, very, very happy. I think that'd be awesome.
Oh yeah, well, I think you got a good chance of that happening, you know, working with Brian for sure. And like I was, you know, after my meeting today, I had to run to the gym real quick, and you know, getting ready for today's, you know, your interview with you. I have an interview, another one later on, and just listening to the music, you know, to try and prepare for it. But it's like, you know, when you're on the run, it's convenient, it's quick to have, you know, that digital format. But yeah, I think that, you know, also the days of just pausing, it was almost like a spiritual thing, you know, like the prayer and meditation and just being in the moment, man, you know.
That's again, like, I love that word spiritual. Like my favorite like time, that sort of downtime process, isn't like going to the gym or running or whatever. I love it on a Sunday, like waking up, I'll make a little coffee, and then I might drive to my local record store, which is maybe about half an hour. There's kind of a few dotted around me. I don't know if you're a Lord of the Rings fan. I know this is way off topic, but I kind of live in somewhere like the Shire. Like, it's very villagey. Like, that's kind of like my vibe here. Nice. And so I got to drive to go to like record stores and stuff. But I love going to these stores, discovering like an LP that I've, you know, heard many times, or something new, and then coming back and just playing it. And it's such a simplistic thing, but in terms of like easing stress or, you know, mental pain or whatever, that's my calmness. And it sounds such like a silly thing, but I love those simple pleasures. It's like, I think it's like what really makes me kind of who I am and calm and stuff.
No, that's a beautiful thing, man. It's something we've gotten kind of away from with this, you know, virtual, like, you know, technology's obviously playing a good part in you and Brian being able to collaborate from a distance and stuff, but it's also like, you know, going back to the basics and staying centered, like we said, and being in the moment, you know. Nothing wrong with that. Tuning everything else out, because it's like, you know, it's like our brains can be like bombarded with so much, and it's just like, you know,
music, watching movies, and coffee. They're like my free, like, little chill things. That's what I'm here for.
Awesome. Alex, I want to ask you a couple of questions that I normally ask guests I have on before we get ready to wrap up here. But you know, you already mentioned, you know, some of your earlier inspirations, but who would you say are the top 3 artists that you're listening to today?
Today, I'm wearing a T-shirt, one of them. Not many people know who they are, but me and my girlfriend went to their show last night to go see them in the city. There's a group called Wonder Horse. They're very small, sort of up-and-coming alternative rock band. So that would be one that's new. I'm really into, at the moment, what's it on my Spotify that I've been listening to? I'm really into Physical Graffiti, Led Zeppelin's album. I'm really exploring that in a lot of depth because I love it. And probably my third one, it sounds really crazy, but there's a soundtrack, War of the Worlds. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, or if it's like a thing. It was quite a big like sci-fi rock album. I don't know what it is, but there's not much singing on it. But in terms of just listening to it, it's about an hour long. I'm listening to that at the minute, which is so random and not very rock and roll, but I just kind of enjoy it.
Nice. And then I know, you know, we were talking a little bit earlier about like school, you know, what class do you feel like before you graduated and were sent out to the world? What class do you feel should be mandatory for students before graduating today?
That's a great question, because I can answer that in two ways. I could say what, in terms of the classes here that are mandatory, and if I could invent one, for me, mandatory, I think we have a thing, I don't know what it's called in America, but like just straight up, it was called English. So like writing, creative writing, and studying old literature, stuff like that. So like for me personally, from where I am and with songs and stuff, that course was really efficient and really productive for me. But if I was to make a course of people, I think there should just be a class of people just with basic life necessities like accounting, budgeting. They don't do classes like that anywhere. But when you finish school and then you move out and you rent an apartment, and it's like, hang on a minute, I've got to pay for gas, I've got to pay for electric, I've got to do my grocery. They don't prepare you for that. So I would say there should be like a course in schools that's like a life course, like, once a week go do a life course on how to run your life.
Yeah. And that's funny because even when I ask that question, that's like the number one answer I get. It says finances, accounting, and like paying your taxes and stuff. Because
we
like
have
they don't
like
prepare any of us for that.
Yeah, like almost they do like in America. So you can, Karen.
Yeah, it's almost like it's intentional.
Mm-hmm. Well, we have
here's a credit card, but it's not free magic money. You got to pay it back.
Exactly. And we've all learned that the hard way. And like we have these maths classes where you're doing fractions and moving the decimal point and trying to work out what X is in algebra. But yet when you leave school, you never do those things ever again. So it's funny that everybody says that, but it's so true. But again, for me, the one that was there, I really enjoyed doing English. Like that was just like my thing. I liked the whole creative writing process and the studying authors and stuff like that. It was really cool.
Yeah. And then who are three people who've inspired you and you can credit for making you the person you are today?
Can it be, is it just music or just anyone?
Anyone.
Well, I'll do my mum and dad as a joint number one, obviously. Musically, probably Freddie Mercury, number two. And number three, probably like Brian. I'll put him in there, obviously, because he's helped me as a mentor and established who I am in terms of music. So yeah, I'll probably say those three. But my parents, especially, like from introducing me to music, and that's constant support that you get from your parents. Doing music and stuff and watching your son perform is obviously quite like not many parents maybe experience that, but they've been so supportive and they're always behind my back. And obviously my girlfriend as well, not in like a lame way, but she's awesome too.
Nice. Yeah, you don't want to get in trouble, at home, so better throw her in there.
Yeah.
But and then what are there any like causes or organizations that you support and encourage others to check out?
So a while ago, I ran a half marathon for a charity called The Mind Matters, which is a UK charity for mental health awareness. So I would say that. And there's also another organization over here called Boys Cry Too. And I haven't done anything for them, but they have a really cool like t-shirt collection, and everything you buy goes towards their charity for men's mental health. So like I think that's quite an important thing that men don't really come up and speak about. So they're probably the two that I support the most. And like I said, their clothing's awesome, and when you're buying the stuff, it has the message on the t-shirt, but all the money goes towards those causes. So yeah.
Yeah, no, those are some good causes. And I was just had a Army veteran on yesterday, and I always, whenever I talk with other veterans, we always bring up what we can do to break the stigma of PTSD and mental health. And it's good to hear that there's more organizations and more stuff being brought out to that, because it's like we're just told to just throw some dirt on it, suck it up, and move on most of our lives. And that doesn't always work out. That's why I come from the world of recovery, you know, where I was trying to numb some inner pain, you know, that I needed to address and deal with, you know. And like I said, we lose so many people because they feel like there's no hope and no one to talk to, or they can't show their emotions. And
Yeah,
you know, it's good that more of that is being a light's being shined on that, you know.
Yeah, well, like I said, when I decided to do those things, and especially the half marathon, to donate something towards that, that was something that was quite yeah, it was important to me, because I've had people, like you've known, people who have suffered with stuff like that, and also lost people along the way because of it. So yeah, I'm all up for that and support all that sort of cause.
Amazing. And then on a cheerier note, I like asking this question because you know, I'm still a kid at heart, and I remember, like, and I still kind of collect things even as an adult. But what was your favorite toy as a child?
Oh, so I still collect toys. Not sounding like a nerd or anything like that, but my favorite toy as a child was probably either two things. I had a Jurassic Park, an original T-Rex, I would say, was probably my first one. And then my second one was a James Bond car, and it was based upon one of the films, and you used to click it and it used to fire missiles and have an ejector seat. But I'm a massive collector now. I love collecting action figures. So, like, I love Batman, Lord of the Rings. Oh, I love Indiana Jones. That's probably my new favorite, like, collecting thing now. They've just done a new toy series, so I love all that sort of stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, it sounds like you're going to need a bigger apartment soon, like me.
Yeah, I know. One day, yeah, they're all kind of displayed on a little unit. But if things get bigger, which hopefully they will, I can expand the toy collection for sure.
Yeah. Between the albums and the toy collection and stuff, you know.
Yeah, two horrible addictions to be addicted to: vinyls and toys. But there you go.
And then, you know, for anybody that the audience out there that's like new to, you know, hearing about Violet Breed and want to follow you guys and support your journey, where would you send them?
I would send them to probably just the website, which is violetbreed.com, and then on there, where the world is these days, you have a social media page for everything. So we've got Facebook, Violet Breed Music, Spotify and Apple for the streaming, just Violet Breed, and then Instagram again, Violet Breed Music. But I think it's easier for me to say violetbreed.com, because then you can find all the links just to go from there. Gotcha.
Alex, man, I really appreciate the time, man. It was good talking with you. And it's good to get, you know, behind the music and hear more about the person as well. So
yeah, no, I really appreciate you having me on the show. It's been a really cool chat to kind of, like you said, explore things other than music. You know, I think that was really enjoyable. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. And then one last favor before I let you go. You mind cutting a promo ID for the show? Just introduce yourself, and you're listening to today's Boondoggle.
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Alex. I'm the lead singer of Violet Breed, and you're listening to today's Boondoggle. I hope you have a good day.
Awesome. All right, like a professional. It's like you've done this already before. Good job, Alex.
I'm normally rubbish at doing those, because when I do them at home, I have to do like different takes. But when you're on the spot, you just got to switch on. So I'm glad that it was all done in one take.
Great job, Alex. Hey, man, it was good talking with you, and look forward to hearing some more new music coming out from you guys.
Hopefully catch up with you when the next single comes out, and we'll get something penciled in again. It's been awesome. You have a good afternoon.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
Thank you.